Banjo video. Sequel bait. Now, I want to preface this. I was actually going to cover Banjo Tooie at some point, but then in the comments of my original Kazooie video, someone actually left a comment telling me not to look over just Tooie, but the whole Banjo franchise, so I figured I'd expedite the process. And that brings me to this point. If there's something you want to hear this random, unemployed 20-something-year-old ramble about for like 20-something minutes, let me know, alright? You know? I got a PS5, I got a PS3, I can play PS1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 games. I got a Wii, I got pretty much any major console outside of Xbox, because who the hell gives a shit about Xbox? But yeah, if there's a game you think you want to hear me cover, then by all means, let me know. So without further ado, this video is thanks to the hit user MakingOftheGlitch. Let's get started. Wow, a sequel to one of the greatest 3D platformers on the N64, and in my opinion, one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time. Surely Banjo Tooie is talked about just as much as Kazooie. Right?
Ho ho ho! You'd think so, wouldn't ya?
Now, you may remember in my Banjo-Kazooie video, I took multiple shots at the Xbox series, basically shitting on it and constantly talking about who the hell even wants to own one. Well, I have sinned. Yeah, so it turns out I actually already had an Xbox. Like, it was literally just sitting up on one of my shelves up there, just collecting dust with my NES that blue screens anytime I plug it in, my PS4, which honestly I don't even know why I still have. I should probably get around to selling that, and my Disney Infinity figures. I miss Toys to Life. But anyway. This is actually a bit of a blessing in disguise, because as much as I love the Nintendo 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, playing Banjo-Tooie on the N64, it's pretty rough, I can't lie. It likes to slow down, it likes to chug. It's overall not that fun of an experience, so with the Xbox version, a la Rare Replay, I can actually play this game pretty seamlessly, I guess is the right word. But yeah, there you have it. So let's head back to Spiral Mountain and see what the Bear and Bird are up to. Now, Banjo-Tooie is a bit of a direct sequel to Kazooie in that everything you got from Kazooie, you know, the flight, the eggs, the invincibility feathers, that's all still here. You don't lose it. It's not like Metroid where you start the game all ultra powerful from the last adventure and then some random enemy just bitch slaps you one time and, oh, now you're back to basics. You gotta get everything again and maybe get like one or two new things depending on the game. No. Everything from Kazooie is here on top of what you learn in Tooie, and honestly, I just think that's pretty cool. It's been 2 whole years since Banjo and Kazooie kicked Grunty's ass and trapped her under the boulder outside her lair. Need I remind you, killing her, Jesus. And things have been pretty chill as of late around Spiral Mountain. We join our illustrious heroes in the midst of a good old-fashioned round of poker, and after a sudden earthquake, we see this big-ass drill tank machine thingy, the Hag 1, bulldozing its way back into Spiral Mountain, revealing Grunty's 2 sisters, Mingella and Blabelda. I'm sorry to the 2 Brentilda fans that happen to be watching this video. I guess after Banjo-Kazooie, she just collected her check and bounced. Same with Tootie. There's a little reference to her saying, Tootie, MIA, have you seen me? Last seen in Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, I guess 1 game was enough, and in Tootie's case, I kinda understand it. You know, last time she even went over to Banjo's house, she got kidnapped by a witch. Probably not a fun experience, but, yeah, those 2 nowhere to be seen. The 2 then meet up with Klungo, Grunty's assistant, if you remember from Kazooie, and with a few witchy shenanigans of their own, manage to destroy the boulder, re-releasing Grunty, and, you're probably gonna notice Grunty is some kind of skeleton zombie thing now. Yeah, there's a bit of a lot of murder in this game. We'll get to that. Like, Jesus, I don't know what was going through these devs' head, but whatever. Grunty's an undead skeleton now. Naturally, Mumbo decides to investigate all the ruckus, but is spotted and then tailed by Grunty back to Banjo's house, and I guess Grunty doesn't give a shit about property values in Spiral Mountain because she decides to launch this big-ass explosive ore thingy, blowing up Banjo's house, and, you know, it's okay, everyone got away, except, yeah, Bottles didn't listen, he didn't seem to care, he thought it was a prank, so he got caught in the blast. Rest in pepperonis, my buddy. Yeah, so the main plot of this game is that Bottles bites the dust, and Banjo decides to go on his big epic journey to avenge Deddy McDedderson over there. And it turns out the Hag 1 actually destroyed a majority of Spiral Mountain, with even Grunty's old lair suffering some pretty major damage. Poor Cheeto, he was the best boy in Kazooie, that little cheat book thingy that gave you some extra codes. He did not deserve anything bad happening to him ever. But by going through the tunnel the machine left behind and kicking the shit out of Klungo, because he's going to be a bit of a recurring mini-boss here, you arrive in the Jinjo village, and I guess we're going to disregard how these things were some sort of mythical beast creatures in Kazooie. Nope, they're just regular-ass village folk who like to just screw around in their calm little village under the rule of King Jingling. Insane name, but you know, it's rare, so that's to be expected. Though, sadly, after advising our heroes on where to go next, Grunty, from her big-ass tower, Cauldron Keep, unleashes Bob, the big old blaster, zombifying the king and stealing his life force. Jesus, man, what the hell? There's so much murder in this game. It just started. Bottles already died. Grunty's like some kind of skinwalker thing. Or, I don't know my horror stuff. I don't know what the hell skinwalker is. She's like this zombie skeleton thing. And King Jingling is a zombie. Like, the game just started and there's already 3 confirmed deaths. Like, Jesus, man. They really wanted to up their ante. Just gonna say this part here, the levels in Tooie are absolutely massive compared to Kazooie. And it might be a bit in a detrimental degree, at least to me. For one, there are still 100 music notes in each level, but now they've been grouped up into little bundles of 5 and one bundle of like 20, 25, I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. But the point is, they've been condensed and aren't as scattered across the levels, which I think is extremely backwards, because if the levels are even bigger, you're going to want to keep every single note scattered to encourage exploration like in Kazooie. There's also the new moves taught to you this time by Bottles' brother, Sergeant Jamjar, since, you know, Bottles is now Deddy McDedderson over there. And, I'm sorry, but the moves in Tooie don't really feel as good to use as the moves introduced in Kazooie. You got stuff like the ledge grab, which is cool, but Banjo just moves so freaking slow, man. Like, my god. And on top of that, they try to up the ante by giving you a lot of egg variety. Like in Kazooie, you just had the generic blue eggs, but now there's fire, there's ice, there's mechanical, there's grenade eggs. And these are all cool, but it's a bit tough to manage because now on top of having the regular eggs, because again, those carry over from Kazooie, you gotta manage like 4 or 5 other different types of eggs, and it honestly just gets to be a little too much, at least for me. But again, me no good gamer, me very bad skill issue, not good, but... The biggest issue with Banjo-Tooie, in my opinion, though, the backtracking. Oh my god, this sucks so much ass. You open up level 1, you do like 2 things in the level, and then you can't progress any further because you need a move found in level 4, so you go to 2, and it's like, oh, well you can't do this because you have to go to level 3, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. There's so much backtracking in this game, and... maybe it's just a me thing, but I cannot stand when to fully complete a level I have to go back and forth between other levels. And Kazooie handled this so perfectly because outside of maybe like 2 instances, you could do everything you needed to do to 100% a level in your first visit, and I think that's how it should be done in a platformer. I am going to go on a bit of a brief little tangent here, and it's actually positive. Multiple parts of Tooie, Kazooie just turns into a freaking gun. Like, that is super cool, and outside of the level in, I think, Glitter Gulch Mine, where the time limit is super strict, like, if you mess up even by a millisecond, you're done. It's pretty cool. Like, I actually really enjoy these segments, and I will say, Rare missed out on something, because they could have easily made, like, a Nerf gun collab or something. Like, it'd probably be pretty expensive nowadays, since, you know, Banjo-Tooie was a 64 game, but I'd track down and buy a Kazooie Nerf gun. Like, look at this, I was stupid enough to buy a Fortnite one, like... Mumbo is actually joining the ranks as a playable character here too. And Mumbo's segments are pretty good, you know, you get to play as him, you get to run around and use your magic glow stick thingy, and in each level he has a specific action he can do. Like in Mania Temple, he can take control of a big-ass golden statue to wreak havoc, and those are pretty cool. Instances like that, I think they justify Mumbo's inclusion pretty well. Although not all of them are winners, like in Jolly Roger Lagoon you can use him to make it so they can breathe underwater somehow. I don't understand that, quite frankly, but the most riveting segment of all, in Glitter Gulch Mine, you can use Mumbo to move a rock! Isn't that such wonderful and exciting game design, guys? Wow! Though, in order to even access Mumbo as a playable character, you need to find these weird gremlin-looking things called Globos and give them to him. But you can also give them to newcomer Humba Wumba in her little hut, and she'll use her magical pool to transform Banjo into a random form depending on the level. So, yeah, the transformations from Kazooie also make a comeback, although I think the only one from Kazooie that really returns is the Bumblebee from Click Clock Wood, which they didn't even really want to bother animating it at all. Like, it just has the one head-turning animation that doesn't change even when you're shooting. And, you know, there's other cool stuff like a TNT detonator and a snowball. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, the transformations in Banjo Tooie are kinda hit and miss for me. But, you know, there's a T-Rex in the dinosaur level, and if you use Mumbo, it can be small or it can be absolutely massive, which that's pretty neat. Although there isn't really much room to run around in it, but we'll get there in a second, believe me. I'm gonna go back to the levels real quick, and yeah, I know I already said it, but these levels are massive, and they're a bit, maybe too massive to me. Like, it's very easy to get lost in these levels, and they try to fix this by adding special little checkpoints, which can also act as teleporters. And if you die, you get sent back to whichever one you just found, which, brief tangent, they also got rid of the life system in this game, which, that's pretty cool. But, I don't know, I don't think this really helps very much, because again, the levels are just too massive, and in some cases, they're just too empty. Like the caveman level where you get the dinosaur, a large portion of it is just vast open nothingness, so you have room for the big-ass dinosaur. But it is kind of cool how the world feels a lot more interconnected. Like, I'm pretty sure in Mania Temple there's a secret passageway you can take that takes you to Glitter Gulch Mine. So many of these worlds are connected via passageways or even the train that you unlock in later levels, and I think that does a good job at making these feel a lot more lived in to a good degree. Like, in Banjo-Kazooie, each level was its own separate little universe. You know, like to get to Treasure Trove Cove, you jump in the big-ass treasure chest. To get to Mumbo's Mountain, you go through the little mountain passage. They weren't connected in any way, shape, or form, but this feels more like a interconnected world, which, credit where it's due, I think that's pretty cool. One area that actually avoids all of the bitching I just went over in the last segment, though, is Witchy World, the amusement park world, which each area of this place is a different biome. You got like the Wild West area, the space area. These are all pretty cool. They all have their own little mini games and challenges to get jiggies. And it's super easy to know where you are because, again, every area in this world is really unique, and I think it's really awesome. You know, you've also got Hailfire Peaks, and that's a pretty cool, get it, gimmick, in that half of the level is like the fiery hellscape lava world, and the other is a big frozen mountain. You know, you got Hailfire Peaks, half and half split down the middle. And in each segment it is pretty easy to get lost, but like it's perfectly split. You've got plenty to do on the fire side and plenty to do on the ice side. I think this just barely scrapes by, including some pretty cool boss fights against elemental dragons at the top of each segment. Oh shit, that's right! Banjo Tooie has actual boss fights! Yeah, so each world in Tooie has like one major boss fight, and these are all, well, for the most part, pretty great. You know, stuff like Old King Cole, that's not really great. That's more so in the gives me an aneurysm tier on the Banjo Tooie boss fight tier list, but other fights like the Elemental Dragons, Lord Wu Fack in Jolly Roger Lagoon, which, Jesus Christ, imagine trying to name a character that nowadays. Those are pretty fun, and obviously the crown jewel here is the strange wobbly inflatable thing, Mr. Patch, with an incredible theme to go along with him, and that is just a super fun boss fight in and of itself. I love this guy. I'm so happy this song was brought back in Smash Bros. I know I briefly went over it earlier, but one of the biggest issues plaguing Banjo-Tooie, in my opinion, is the massive amount of backtracking. Like, my god, there's so much backtracking in this game. You're often going to find jam jars, but you won't have enough notes, so he'll tell you to get lost, which means you have to go to multiple other worlds, collect all the notes there, make your way back to the level you found him in, get all the way back to Jam Jar's little pod, and then talk to him again just to learn the move. And that's already annoying in and of itself. And you've got certain side quests for Jiggies requiring lots of backtracking. I remember there's one in Witchy World where I think you need to get a burger, bring that to the Caveman World to give it to a guy to get him to move out of your way. And I'm sorry, that shit just isn't fun. If it was like a level that you could get to by walking through a passage in Witchy World, then yeah, that'd be fine. But this just isn't it, man. I'm sorry. I will say, though, there is one interesting side quest on the frozen side of Hailfire Peak. So we have Mildred the Ice Cube, which, if you're a Banjo fan, you probably know where I'm going with this. Her husband, George the Ice Cube, was swept up to Cloud Cuckoo Land by accident thanks to a breeze, and after making your way up there and pushing him off a ledge, you get to reunite this happy, frozen, loving couple. Except not actually, because you end up accidentally pushing George into Jolly Roger's lagoon, where he lands in boiling hot water and is melted. But, you know, it's fine, guys. We may have just accidentally committed murder, but at least the pigs can now swim in the water. That's fine, and we get a Jiggy out of it. Oh my god, there's so much goddamn murder in this game! Eventually, though, after many more instances of annoying-ass backtracking and side quests, and probably some more murder, because, Jesus, so much murder in this game, my god, the duo makes their way to Cauldron Keep, Grunty's big-ass tower headquarters and home to the final boss of the game. And you whoop Klungo's ass one more time, in which he realizes, shit, dog, this shit ain't working out, I'm gonna get the hell out of here, which, good for him. I'm glad he finally wised up and is looking for a new career. But if you thought it was just whooping Klungo's ass and then the final boss, ooh, boy, oh boy, are you a dumb bitch, because you know why? It's time for the obligatory quiz show! Because of all things they could bring back from Banjo-Kazooie, they brought back the Furnace of Fun, except this time it's called the Tower of Tragedy or some shit. Quiz show time, baby, let's go! Let's get this shit over with. Yep, look at that, another quiz show, and it's the whole, oh, answer him correctly or you die, which, hooray. Although, credit where it's due, Grunty is pretty ruthless in this quiz. Like, my god, she goes as far as to kill Mingella and Blobelda if they get questions wrong. Like, her own sisters, who burrowed into Spiral Mountain with the big-ass Hag 1 to save her life, she offs them if they lose the Banjo, which... Combine that with the fact where she actually gives up her whole rhyming gimmick from Kazooie, and now she's kind of just, like... She wants this bear's head on a plaque. She is out for blood. And I think this does a good job at setting up Grunty as less of a comedic villain and more like an actual antagonistic villain. Like, she feels like much more of a threat in this game, which is commendable, I have to admit. Like, the rhyming was fun in Kazooie, but I think they did a good job at upgrading her to more of a threatening status at Tooie. Though, after we win the Tower of Tragedy, Grunty decides to run up to the top of the tower, another parallel to Kazooie, although this time there's no mock credits sequence, which is a little sad, but for pacing's sake, I'm okay with this. Banjo takes control of Bob's controls and uses it to revive King Jingling, as well as bring Bottles back from the grave, so gonna revoke his Deddy McDetterson name card there. And after saving their friends, it's time for Banjo and Kazooie to fight Grunty once again. So the fight against the Hag one itself is pretty cool. Like this entire time, Grunty's trying to mow you down with a big-ass machine. She's throwing magic. It's actually pretty fun. It's a little hectic. But they can't help themselves because every now and again, Grunty pauses the fight to ask Banjo a quiz question. I don't know why they keep doing this. But if you manage to answer it correctly, Grunty actually can't attack you for a brief period, which gives you time to fight back. And, you know, eventually, after whittling down all her defenses and doing enough damage, Grunty basically says no and starts charging her super massive Final Gambit spell, to which Butterfingers there decides to slip and drop it into the cockpit of the tank, and kablooey! There goes the tank. It's over. Banjo and Kazooie kill Grunty again. The duo then returns to Bottle's joint, only to see that Klungo has absolutely trashed the victory party. But before tensions can boil over, Banjo and Kazooie actually invite their friends for a kick-around, to which we see them playing hacky sack with Grunty's now severed but still very alive head, Jesus. And, you know, we get the ending of the game, those famous words, just you wait until Banjo 3, thus ends Banjo Tooie with one of the biggest teases and ultimate letdowns in gaming history. There are still a few more details I want to go over, though. For one, if you manage to find the Mega Globo in Hailfire Peak and bring it to Humba in the Isle of Hags, you can actually turn Kazooie into a goddamn dragon. This is badass, and I mean, granted, the flame attack is kind of useless, but, like, the fact this is here, that's still pretty cool. There's also the return of Stop and Swap. They brought it back, baby! And you know, despite the original functionality being canned, they managed to implement the eggs into Tooie, which can be hatched by this character, Heggy, in order to receive some rewards. Oh, baby, they've been hyping this up since Banjo-Kazooie. Gimme, what do you got? Come on, show me something cool. Justify it. We got a new melee combat move where Banjo slams Kazooie on the ground like a club. Jinjo as a multiplayer character, and homing eggs. Yippee. This sucks. But, yeah, I guess that about wraps up Banjo-Tooie. Ultimately, I'd say this game is pretty okay, and I definitely recommend you at least play it. I don't know about beating it, and I sure as hell don't recommend completing it. But, in the grand scheme of things, I'd absolutely recommend you complete Kazooie, check out Tooie, and, yeah, now that I have an Xbox, I'll actually be able to keep up the Banjo series rundown thing I'm doing, and I guess I'll see you guys next time in Showdown Town. Although, I do want to clarify, Nuts and Bolts probably won't be the next video. I've got like 3 to 4 finished scripts I'm sitting on. I want to do those first, but I will get around to that. And again, I said this at the beginning, if there's something you want to see me talk about, let me know. I want to give you what you people want, alright? If you want to hear me talk about something like, I don't know, Mario teaches typing, sure, I could probably sit around and blab about that for a few minutes. Hell, I'm dumb, I could stretch that into a 20-minute video. Let's try that. But in all seriousness, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!